Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So it is February 1st and I thought it would be kind of cool to talk about all the books that I read last month. So some of them I only partially read because I couldn't get through them, but I'll tell you all about them in today's video. This is the most amount of books that I've read in a singular month. And what kickstarted it for me was a 75 hard challenge because you have to read 10 pages a day. But let's get started with the first book that I partially read in January. I think it's best for me to just give you my thoughts on the book and not necessarily spoil what the book is about. So the first book is Feel Good Productivity by Abdaal, and I found this book because he is a pretty big YouTuber and a productivity expert. My general rule of thumb if I'm reading a book is I will have patience in the first 50 pages, but if the book is not picking up within 50 pages, then I am gonna put it down. Like, I'm not gonna force myself to get into something that I'm not into. And unfortunately, I could not get through this book. It really felt like a very drawn out research paper to me, and I did not want to be in science class. I didn't want to be in science class and I couldn't finish it. But I think that this would be good for somebody who likes things that are very backed up in research. It's just like, I don't mind a lot of research, but I felt like it took forever to drive the point home. And it's like chapter after chapter after chapter, it was like a research paper. And I just couldn't do it. But I do love his YouTube videos. I feel like they're very helpful. I just really wasn't into the book, but I would pick up another one if he wrote another one.
Overall, I would give Feel Good Productivity 2 out of 5 stars. The book just wasn't for me.
So the second book that I read was called Crushing It by Gary Vee. I know that he's not everybody's cup of tea, but I love him down, honey. So I actually never read the first book, but I read this and I feel like he says the things that I need to hear. I own a small business called Skylight. I sell candles, and I feel like a lot of times you could compare yourself online, like no matter if you're just selling things or if you're just trying to put yourself out there like I'm doing now. But I feel like he brings me back down to earth. Yo, you have so much opportunity. There's so many things that you can do. You need to stop caring about what people think. If you want to be a content creator, if you have a business, you have to put yourself out there and just literally go out there and crush it, right? So I love this book. And after this, I didn't pick up Crush It because I felt like, okay, I already read this and I kind of got the gist of what it is. But I did pick up Day Trading Attention, and that is on my reading list for February, if not very early March. If you have any aspirations to be a content creator or run a business or anything involving social media, this is a good one for you.
I'm giving Crushing It by Gary Vee 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. I just can't give out 5 stars that easy, but I thought this was very, very good.
Next book that I read, I literally cannot praise enough. This book was so good that I listened to the audiobook and had to pick up the physical copy. I went to Barnes & Noble and paid the whole $30 for it, and it was worth every single penny. But by the way, if you want to check out any of these books, I'll have them linked in the description box below. But that book is called Power Moves by Sarah Jakes Roberts. I've been telling all of my friends about this even since I listened to the audiobook. It is so good. So if you don't know who she is, she's an entrepreneur and also a pastor. And this book actually talks about how, you know, power moves through you, how when you're in situations where you don't belong, like how you give your power away. But I can't even explain it the way that the words in the book will just move through you. This book is so freaking good, honestly. I think that this book will speak to you regardless of your religion, but especially if you're Christian. And as a Christian woman, I feel like this was just pouring into me, and I felt like when I left this book, it gave me a newfound confidence, and I'm so grateful for that I would read this book again, and I actually plan to. But after reading this book, I picked up the Woman Evolve book, and I think I'm gonna read that before I give this one a reread. But this is definitely gonna stay on my bookshelf, and it's worth revisiting even multiple times to just remind you of how powerful you are as a person.
So my rating for Power Moves by Sarah Jakes Roberts is 5 out of 5 stars. The way that this spoke directly to me, I cannot give it anything less.
So the next book that I read is called The 12-Week Year, and I actually read this book about maybe a year or two ago, and I have a full video about it on my channel. But pretty much it's for people who like to plan and be very productive, and it's about how you could get more done in 12 weeks than people do in an entire year. The book is basically about a planning system, but I won't bore you to death about the details, but it's actually pretty good. I felt like I had to revisit it because I kind of lost a few notes just over time about how exactly the system works. And so I gave it a reread, and that's exactly how I'm planning this year in a 12-week system. And I think that it really works for me because I get a lot done. If you like to plan out your weeks, you buy planners every year, digital digital planning, you should really give this a try, at least for a 12-week period, and see if it works for you.
I'm giving the 12-week year 4 out of 5 stars because the system definitely works. The book is just a tad bit repetitive, but overall I enjoyed it.
The next book is my current read, and it's called Good Energy by Casey Means. And so far I'm loving this book, but in full transparency, I probably would have never picked up a health book, but I loved how this cover looked. And I told myself, dang, I want good energy. Pretty much the author is a doctor, and she was actually an ENT surgeon, but in her practice, she found that she was very frustrated with the American healthcare system and how doctors are taught in med school how to treat symptoms instead of the actual problem. And so she quit her job as a surgeon to start her own practice and do the research to find out what is the underlying issue that's causing all of these health problems. So pretty much what I've gotten from this book so far is she's telling us exactly how the cells in our bodies work and what we can do to have better energy in our lives. And I feel like this put me back into college. Like, I graduated with a biology degree and I haven't heard about ATP synthase in a long time. And I was like, dang, I didn't think I would even ever see those words again. So far, I'm really enjoying this book. It does have a lot of research in it, but unlike the other book, no shade, it always like drives the point back home and teaches you how you can like apply this to your life and just the different type of diseases and things that we hear about every day that is just very common in American culture. And so I am looking forward to finishing this. I did a little peek through and saw that she has like list of foods and stuff, so it does seem like she's gonna get into the nitty-gritty about what we can apply in our lives. And I love action-based books. I love books that you can take little like nuggets out of and actually apply them to your life, you know? So I know that this one is gonna be a gem, but I'm gonna be finishing this book this month.
I'm clearly still working my way through this one, but I'm guesstimating that I'm gonna rate this one either 4 or 5 out of 5 stars. So we'll see. I'll give you an update on it.
The only audiobook that I listened to this month was Be Ready When the Luck Happens by Ina Garten. I'm actually only about 70% of the way through, so almost done. But I actually never heard of her before that book, but apparently she's like a very big celebrity Martha Stewart type, you know? But I'm loving the book, and as somebody who wants to get so good at cooking, it actually just opened my eyes to her world, and now I'm like interested in, you know, how she got to her point in life. But I did see the physical book in BJ's and in Barnes & Noble's, and someone also talked about it in a podcast, and I was like, you know what, I'll give her a shot. And I'm actually really enjoying it. I feel like it makes me want to travel and to bake and stuff like that. So I'm actually going to be starting a series on my channel about learning how to bake. So if you want to see that, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. But yeah, these are the books that I've read so far this year. I'm going to give myself credit for 4 of them, and my reading goal this year is to get through 50 books. So I am on track. Let me know what your reading goal is for the year, and also if you've read any of these books, let me know how you enjoyed them. Also, give me some book recommendations. I would say that normally I'm into mystery and thriller type of books, but I have been trying to be more intentional about reading some nonfiction. So I think I might spice it up for the next one and do a fiction and then go on to the next Gary Vee book. But if you have any recommendations for books that I should read in the future, please let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to hear from you guys. But until next time, toodles!